Right, welcome back to the Touch Gloves podcast. I'm Jackson, back here with Ricardo Walton.
Alright, it's just Richard, but we'll go with Ricardo.
Each week it's going to be different, mate. This week it's Ricardo Waltino.
What's next? I'm quite excited.
We'll find out next week.
Shall we?
Stay tuned.
Anyway, you've just shown me possibly one of the greatest knockouts of all time.
One of the greatest fights I've probably ever seen on UFC. A couple of weeks back, UFC Fight Night 139.
See, I don't usually watch the fight nights, but because I don't really fancy staying up till 5 in the morning.
I was just literally
for a 3
that weekend I was with my dad.
Yeah.
And when he comes up, I usually watch the UFC, so watch that, and it was probably one of the greatest fights I've ever seen in UFC. Fight runabout, Rodriguez versus the Korean Zombie. My goodness.
I've heard of the Korean Zombie quite a bit. I've seen his name circulate through loads of forums and Twitter and such. I've heard good things about him, but I've rarely ever watched the guy fight. But from what I've just seen there, that was something else.
I mean, both fighters kicking lumps out of each other for 5 rounds.
That's what you want to see, though, isn't it?
To the point where, final round, they're hugging it out, shaking hands, and then 5 seconds later, on the bell, a swinging elbow, uppercut, straight to the zombie's head, knocks him clean out.
Seriously, possibly one of the most unorthodox.
And I'm not saying it was 5 seconds to go. I'm saying it was dead on.
Yeah, it was dead on the
last second.
As soon as that bell rang, he was hitting the floor. It was on the second. As soon as the bell goes, he's dropping.
And because of that, it was brought to a TKO knockout. If it went to decision, I have no idea who would have won.
I'd call it quite a clutch. I'd say
that was more of a draw than Fury Wilder. But
you're telling me.
But Jesus Christ, what a fight that was!
I mean, it has everything. It has the great striking, which is my personal favourite in a UFC fight. It's got strong sportsmanship. The guys are shaking each other's hand, hugging it out on the last round, and possibly one of the most unique knockouts I've ever seen. It's he goes in for a tackle but swings his elbow up behind his back, catches the Korean Zombie.
So it just dodges the right hook, and
he goes in. He goes
and
in,
as he comes back up, he just lifts his elbow above his head and catches him straight on the sweet spot.
Right on the bell.
Right on the bell.
Unreal.
That's not the only thing we've missed in UFC.
Yeah, we've missed quite a lot that week. That week off's ruined us.
More than a week off, 2-3 weeks off. One of the main headlines was that Jose Aldo is fighting again.
In one championship, not UFC.
No.
Oh, he's fighting in UFC?
He's fighting UFC.
He's coming back.
Jose Aldo is supposed to be fighting, what do you call him, Cub Swanson in UFC 233.
Swanson and Aldo?
Yeah.
I've never really rated Swanson. I've never really watched him either.
I do think Aldo will win. It'll be a good fight. It will be a good fight to watch, but for me, I think Aldo will beat Swanson in that.
I mean, we've got quite a lot to look forward to. We're not in university due to Christmas break, and we're going to be missing 231 and 232. I think we're missing them both. So, shall we go through 231 today? And then next week drop our 232s, because we've got a lot to say about John Jones.
Yeah, we always have comments to make about him, but
I love the guy. I think the guy is fantastic. 231, Holloway and Ortega.
Main card. Title fight. Not many people like Max Holloway.
He calls himself blessed.
Exactly. That's why people hate him.
The thing I've learned from watching UFC is I'm always backing the guy with the clean record. So I think I'm going to have to get behind Ortega on this one.
Things with Ortega, he's not a he's not someone that's going to batter you.
He's going to make.
He's not going to knock you out. He can make you go the 5 rounds, but
he's won half his fights through submission.
Holloway quite aggressive. So
Well, they're vaguely the same height, and from what I can see here, they have got the same reach. So Ortega, he's more of a submissionist kind of fighter.
yeah, I mean the submission
If I had to put him on anything.
that he's given on his UFC card is 50%. So it's half and half that he's either going to win by submission or he's going to go.
Or he's not going to win at all and
or he's just going
throw
to.
us off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to go Max Holloway.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Some friendly competition, as always.
Not many
whenever
people like
UFC
Max
's
Holloway. To be honest, I don't really understand why. I think he's alright. I think he's a decent fighter.
Like, you wouldn't be in the UFC if he wasn't a decent fighter. Like, the guy can fight.
There's a lot of people in the UFC that are not decent fighters.
Do you think that's because they're getting outshone by other people?
Well, I'll let you decide on that because I'm going to tell you one person, and that is CM Punk.
Yeah, he only got that contract because of his, like, a celebrity status through WWE. That's the only, well, what I think, personally, is what mainly got him that contract with UFC.
Crap fighter, though.
Yeah. Okay, you've proven us wrong with that one. I'll give you that. Another fight I'm looking forward to is the Shevchenko fight, though. I think it's just a co-main event. And contrary to what our favourite bear wrestlers just said the other day, turned around and said to the all aspiring women UFC fighters to just stay at home. I'd say that's little bit sexist, but I'm not there to criticise what people say. I'm here to criticise how people fight.
There's a lot of sexism going on recently in the sport.
Yeah.
It was the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, that was like really bad. That there was the first women's Ballon d'Or, and the presenter asked the winner to twerk on stage. Like,
It was just so awkward. Like,
I don't know if that's a joke, but
I think the guy that said it is he is a comedian.
Ah, right, I see. I didn't really know much about the actual presenter.
But I mean, like,
I think
what the hell?
there's a certain point where you can make a joke for a joke to be appropriate, but when the first ever woman's Ballon d'Or, I think it's the first ever.
Yeah,
the first ever woman's Ballon d'Or, that's going to go down as the first award where the winner was asked to twerk.
it's just really. I mean, imagine if it could have gone down as hard if someone like Jimmy Carr had said it to her.
Well, like a more established.
Yeah. Because the way it's going along in the news is the person that just gave the Ballon d'Or is just asked her to twerk. And by that you think, oh, a favourite president has just asked someone to twerk. But moving off football, come back to this.
That's not our territory. We're delving in here.
Sexism in UFC. I mean, like, what the hell?
I don't see how anyone could, like, in any way be, like, misogynistic towards the women fighters in the UFC, because
I like watching the women fighters.
they could do a hell of a lot more than I could ever do in my life.
It's a completely different style of fighting to the men's. And sometimes more entertaining.
Do you remember the Ronda Rousey run? She was like the top of the game for a while.
She was top dog, and now I think ever since she got knocked out, she's just never been the same.
I mean, you know someone's top dog when they get cover of the video game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you ever get knocked out in your career, you're never the same. It's happened to loads of fighters. Brock Lesnar, happened to him.
Yeah.
It's obviously happened to Ronda Rousey.
Unfortunately, instead of cracking on with the MMA, she signed a contract with WWE, which is not the career move I would have made, but
What would you have made it if you had money in front of you?
To be fair, from what I've seen, like, she lost, was it 2 fights in a row?
She got battered in 2 fights. She's just never been the same. I mean, if she makes a comeback, that'll be insane.
I'd like to see her make a comeback because I think there's still a lot more to accomplish.
To me,
That's
she's not
right.
even the top dog in women's UFC anymore.
I'd say probably Cyborg.
I was going to say Cyborg, and she's on the 232 card with
Our John Boy,
Nunes.
Cyborg and Nunes. That's going to be one hell of a fight.
That is
I'll
going to be
guarantee you now.
an insane fight.
If the John Jones fight doesn't get fight of the night, I could see the Cyborg fight getting it.
That's it. Usually I'll just stay up for the main card of a fight and watch the prelims
Yeah, I usually
2 days when it comes out.
I usually
but
stay up for the main card.
this has an insane prelim. Cyborg Nunes. Obviously John Jones fighting. Obviously in the 232 review, we'll look at the others, but
I mean, I think it's not that bad of a shout to get our prelims in because sooner or later BT Sport's gonna be gone.
B Sport's going to be gone. Eurosport and 11 Sports is going to be the home of UFC.
I've still got BT Sport free with the Wi-Fi, man.
I know, same. I was supposed to say I get it for free. How I'm going to find my UFC now is it's going to be a bit stressful, but
Yeah, I don't fancy paying, but
either way, if it's like a £10 a month,
go down the
so be
casino.
it.
Go down the casino.
Yeah.
Casino's always got them on, man. I mean, back to the whole sexism thing. Like, you see a lot of people who aren't actually fighters criticising the way the women fight. Which, like, I'll come out and say, if I got into an octagon with any of them women, I'd walk out a dead man. I'd be
100%.
battered.
100%. Some of the martial arts that they know as well, it's just absolutely insane.
I'd even go out on a whim and, like, yeah, men's bodies in the UFC are generally, like, bigger and tougher, but I'd say there's a few women in there who could take a few of the male fighters for a good fight.
Oh, guaranteed. Any of them on CM Punk.
Yeah, I think they'd wail on CM Punk. But we've also got Mighty Mouse leaving UFC.
Demetrius Johnson has left the UFC. And I spoke about him a couple of weeks ago, saying that I'd like to see him get back on the UFC. And now he's just announced that he's left the UFC and he's going to join one championship with
Alvarez.
the likes of Eddie Alvarez.
See, I was really confused this morning when you were showing me this, because I thought it was Aldo who left to go to one championship.
No, Aldo's on the 233 card.
Yeah, I keep getting Aldo.
It's a
and
bit far
Alvarez
away.
mixed.
That's looking in February, but I'm losing my voice here.
I mean,
One championship.
I think I'm going to have to give it a go, you know.
More and more fighters are moving over there, whether it's got the money or whether it's just,
Maybe it's-
just the fact it's a growing sport.
I think, like, looking at it from an outsider perspective, the UFC company itself seems to favour the people who are bringing in more money. Like, look at the likes of McGregor, out of the octagon for up to 2 years, straight into a title fight. How does he get that?
Persona.
The face of the company. I mean, it's unfair.
Well, I mean, the whole business is unfair. I think any business is unfair. But
It's the big
fact
money fights, isn't it?
one championship, what's it going to offer that's different? I've never seen a one championship fight.
Me neither, but maybe, this is me going out on a whim here, maybe this is sort of offering more of an authentic ladder. Saying, right, you keep climbing and then you get your title shot instead of saying...
I mean, the comments that I made about Eddie Alvarez joining was that he was fourth in the rankings in his weight division. Looking at the four people
three.
above him, was he ever gonna beat them in a fight to move up,
Yeah.
or was he at a status where that's where he is? He's not going to get any further than that. Is it time to maybe move on to another championship and be a top competitor in that sport?
I mean, at the moment, it looks like it's only been hinted at, but would you like to see more UFC stars to try and make like some ultimate card at one championship? Like, could you see one championship poaching more and more UFC fighters?
You know what, I really could, because yesterday, there was someone else that I read join one championship. I can't remember who it was. Just having a look here. No, it's not the front page or anything. It was another male fighter. It did have a established spot in the UFC. I mean, I'm gonna have to give it a watch.
I'm gonna give it a go because I think something's brewing here. I think something big's on the way. And plus, like, there's not a lot of American fighters in one championship, and when you go to UFC, it's quite dominantly American fighters, which is there's nothing wrong with.
Yeah,
I think one championship looks like it offers a lot more.
you still got your South American fighters in the UFC, but looking at this, you got way more European fighters.
A lot of Asian as well.
Yeah, Chinese and Korean
Japanese
fighters.
as well.
I couldn't really see anyone there that I recognised, but
Yeah, there's.
one championship, I'll have to give it a
I'm
go.
gonna give it a go. I'm gonna try find a way to watch it, even if it means getting it on catch up or something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try find a way.
but I think one topic that we really need to talk about is Israel Adesanya
Yes. The up-and-coming
versus
and greatest of all
Anderson
time.
Silva.
See, for a lot of the time, I'm fairly sure I read that Anderson's next fight would be with McGregor. And since McGregor's still in a little bit of trouble with the
I couldn't see that happening.
with the NAC regarding the whole jump in the cage fiasco, looks like it's going to be a while before we see him fight. So we've got quite the experienced fighter. coming in with Anderson Silva.
40-year-old
43 fights. 43 fights against Israel Adesanya's 15. I think it's 15 fights. But I think Israel Adesanya's only had 1 or 2 fights that haven't been knockouts. And in 15, that's strong.
I said when he was coming up onto that Cormier Lewis card before the fight, I said, look, that he was going to be one of the top dogs in the UFC, and he one day could be sort of the next John Jones, not in the sort of bad way
Not
with
the
all the
doping
drugs,
way.
but with, just becoming a very established, insane fighter in the UFC.
Yeah.
And
He's got
literally a week after saying that, Dana White said he's going to be one of the poster boys of the UFC if he continues to fight like that. And now he's fighting a
quite
top
established
dog,
name.
and whoever wins gets a chance to have a shot at the title. Something that Anderson Silva will probably want to do to get that back.
It's coming to the end of Silva's career. I mean, I think being able to win his fight with Adesanya and then go on to win a title, that'll be a good way to end things for him because, like you said, the guy's 40 now.
40-year-old, and he's a very good fighter, very entertaining to watch. He's someone else that I really do enjoy watching. Very good with his high knees and using the cage to effect. For Adesanya, very, very powerful fighter. He's got that knockout punch.
He's really young for a fighter of that caliber,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got that knockout punch, and like statistics aren't everything, but the stats just don't lie.
I'd be very surprised if this fight goes the whole way. Very surprised.
I think there's going to be a knockout.
It's definitely a knockout fight because both of these guys have a knockout punch. If this goes the full way, it's either going to be a very boring fight, or it's going to be a fight where they're just kicking lumps out of each other.
I'd like to see more of an aggressive fight between the two because I think they both are quite dominant figures. I think they're both like pretty much. Like, you see Israel fight, and he just goes in, and I think that's that young endurance. He just goes
Just
in.
no fear.
Absolutely no. I think that's what gets you up in the game though. Keeping a level head, not being worried about anything, because obviously the mental battle's half the fight in this sport. Because all you have to do is get one guy a little bit too angry, I mean, we've seen it with McGregor's classic, what was it, 3-4 second knockout? I think it was Aldo.
Yeah, it was about 7 seconds.
Yeah, really aggroed Aldo all the way through. Bell goes, Aldo goes straight in. Little combo and he's out.
Boom.
I stayed up
Uppercut.
till about 5 a.m. for that. I was tired.
I'm going Israel.
I'm going Israel as well. I think I was like,
I don't really want to have to go against Anderson Silva, but I think I'm going to have to,
yeah,
just because of the comments that I made about Israel.
I think I think it's going to be a really close fight, but we've got till February. I think it's February 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So that's something we're going to revisit at a later date when more of the card actually gets announced.
Mm-hmm.
As for now, 2-3-1 on the way. Holloway Ortega. I think I'm quite excited for that fight.
There is a lot happening in the UFC now. We had a sort of still month where it was leading up to Cormier was fighting, nothing was happening.
Yeah.
But now we're in the month of December. We've had the fight Fury Wilder. We've had a couple of fights in the UFC, and then we've got obviously John Jones coming up again.
Good way to end the year, isn't it?
I'd say so, definitely.
I think it's been quite a good year for combat sports in general, if I'm being honest.
I think it's definitely pushed forward. I think it pushed forward every single year, but I think this one is really, really pushed forward. I mean, last year, what helped it was obviously McGregor with Mayweather and with did he have another fight last year?
McGregor.
I don't know if it was in UFC. I think it was solemnly just
And I'm fairly
boxing.
sure it was just boxing.
But
But as for now, I think
as for now this year, it's been incredible how
great.
far it's come.
I think a lot more fans have been drawn with McGregor. Like, a lot of people see this guy trash talk and watch him fight and like, wow, this MMA business is pretty good.
Because he's a comedian in the UFC. He's the face of the UFC. He's a great fighter.
He's got it in him.
He's just all around.
But as for now, all we've really got to look forward to is it's 2-3-1 this weekend at least. So we can round that off next week. Look towards 2-3-2. And then maybe we'll have one more to end the year off. Like, we'll have our fight of the year, fighter of the year. We'll have a nice little round.
Good idea. I rate that.
You go home on the 14th, I imagine, yeah?
Yeah.
So we won't have another podcast out until 2019, when we're back, where we could do our roundup of 2-3-2, albeit a little bit late, but we'll get 2-3-1 watched, give the sleeping pattern another battering. Once that's done, round it off next week, and then we'll end the week on the semester at uni with our fights of the year, fighters of the year, press conference of the year. And I think that'll be a nice way to round it off.
Definitely a nice way to round it off.
But as for now, I'm fairly sure that's all we've got to talk about this week.
Yeah, I mean, we've pretty much covered what we've sort of missed since that Cormier Lewis fight. Just look forward to this weekend, see what Holloway and Ortega sort of brings us.
Bring to the table. Just before we go, who's your money on? You said Holloway, yeah?
I said Holloway.
I'm going to go Ortega.
Well, last time you went against me, you messed up big time.
Yeah. I'm not going to make that same mistake.
Well, you just made the same mistake again.
No, I've got this.
You've got this. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and see you next week.
Yeah, goodbye.